My name is Anthony Toncho Nunez, and today I'll be reviewing The Dead Don't Die. Let's get into it! Okay guys, so before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. This is going to be a spoiler review. That's right, there's going to be spoilers. I will be ruining the movie. If you have not seen the movie, come back after you watch the movie. Or if you don't care about spoilers, stay right there. The second thing is, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy this review. Now let's get started. Let's talk about The Dead Don't Die. Now, The Dead Don't Die is a horror comedy with a lot of different elements from different genres thrown in there. It is directed by Jim Jarmusch and written by Jim Jarmusch and probably done for the sole enjoyment of Jim Jarmusch. It stars Bill. I only do weird indie movies now and refuse to come back for Ghostbusters Murray. Adam. I don't care for him much when he was on Girls, but damn, I like the roles that he picks, but not so much the movie's driver. As well as Chloë, under superutilized Sevigny. Steve, I will watch anything you do. Buscemi is in here. We also have Danny. I wish you were in more movies. Glover. Tom, I would have never guessed you survived this movie. Waits. And Tilda, I bring high art to every role I choose. Swinton. Plus a wagon load of people you know in smaller roles thrown in for I don't know what reason. This movie was sold to us like a horror comedy, so I was expecting a little bit of Shaun of the Dead with a little bit of warm bodies thrown in and a little bit of Zombieland for that Zombieland, zombie bashing that you saw in the trailer. A little bit of action, right? But it was nothing like that. That's not what we got. It's because this movie doesn't know what it wants to be. This movie's like a stew with too many ingredients in there, and you can't really get a taste for any of the individual elements. Let's see what we have. It wants to be a zombie horror comedy, but pulls in elements from science fiction. I'm looking at you, Tilda Swinton, whose character randomly ends up being an alien at the end and flying out of here for nowhere, for no reason that was never even pointed at. It wants to be social commentary at the very last minute by attaching some cell phones to zombies' hands and giving us a very long, boring voiceover to stitch together a social commentary angle. Very last minute. It also wants to be meta with Adam Driver's character Ronnie straight up foreshadowing the whole movie. This is not gonna end well. This is not gonna end well. And the continuous inclusion of the song The Dead Don't Die. And if you thought that wasn't enough, at the end the writer's like, what the hell? I'm just gonna go straight up Deadpool and knock down the fourth wall. He knocked down all the walls, basically. So whatever investment you had in the scenario that they were in and the reality of the characters, it was all torn down, right? And I'm talking about the little investment that you probably did have in the movie, because damn was it slow. It wants to be an off-center, weirdly paced indie movie. And by saying off-center, weirdly paced indie movie, I'm being really generous. This movie is incredibly slow. It has a runtime of 1 hour and 44 minutes. The first zombie doesn't appear until 24, 28 minutes. And by then, the movie's already incredibly slow. And even the zombie appearing doesn't even really change the mood or the pacing of the movie at all. There's a huge pacing problem in this movie. And the big problem is there's no narrative. There's no goals. Every character basically has no goals at all. They introduce characters for no reason. They don't have any motivation. They don't have anything they want to accomplish. There's no character arcs. There really isn't really a story arc here either. It's like you're watching a movie for the sake of watching a movie. It kind of feels like a documentary at times, a very slow-paced documentary. Bill Murray, Adam Driver, and Chloë Sevigny's characters, they're actual police. And during the zombie uprising, you'd think they would go out there and patrol, right? No, they literally stay in the police station and don't realize for themselves that they should have something to do, like protect the citizenry or go out and patrol until Tilda Swinton's character shows up and mentions it to them. By the way, do you have a plan? And finally, they figure out, okay, let's go outside and try to save some people. And by try to save some people, I mean they don't save anyone. They don't even attempt to save anyone. They're the worst police ever. These characters basically fail at their jobs. All three of them are really ill-equipped to be police because even though Adam Driver's character has a physicality and he's willing to kill some zombies, he doesn't have any motivation to go out there and save people. He doesn't think, hey, we should be doing something to stop this, right? So they were like the worst protagonists in this type of movie because they weren't moving anything forward. It wastes so much time introducing random characters. I'm looking at you, Cleveland hipsters. Selena Gomez character, basically, what was the point of her character? You don't even see what happens to these people. Basically, they just end up dead. And they also show you these other characters, like RZA's character, Iggy Pop's character. What was the point of them? Why is Rosie Perez in this movie? They just give you people for the sake of showing you famous people at times. Their characters don't have any arc, no development. I really enjoy watching Danny Glover, but he really wasn't given anything to do in this movie. A lot of characters basically were not giving anything to do. The one person that you think is not going to make it, which is Tom Waits' character, he actually survives. Why does he survive? I don't know. Like, that's the one person I thought was a goner from the beginning. That was the one time the movie was not predictable. Actually, wait a second. This movie's not predictable at all, because predictable would mean it has kind of some type of regular narrative that you're used to, like the hero faces a problem, he figures out how to conquer the problem, he gets past the problem, or there's some type of resolution. None of that happens here. It's just, I don't know, it kind of just, it's a waste of time for these characters, like just standing around. It's like you are watching The Office. It's like you're watching a documentary, but I wouldn't even call it The Office, because The Office is funny, and a lot of times there's really no humor here. I guess there's some things that work. For example, I would say the one bright spot of this movie is definitely the actors. Every actor in this movie is actors you want to see. Everybody from Adam Driver to Bill Murray, to Chloë Sevigny, to Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover, even the little cameo from Rosie Perez, RZA. It's all people that you want to see. Tilda Swinton. These are all great actors. They came here. I don't think this movie lacked anything because of the actors. The actors try to do the best. But Adam Driver, he was the most interesting thing for me in this movie. Him and Bill Murray. And I wish that they were given so much more to do. Like, they were the bright spot in this movie, but not enough to change anything. The pacing problems in this movie and so many other problems, they could not overcome these problems by just bringing sheer acting talent and bringing a great cast. But they were definitely a bright spot in this movie, as well as the visuals. I really like the posters. I really like the posters for this movie. Obviously, I saw the trailer and I said, let me watch this movie. So it definitely brought me in. I like the zombie imagery in the posters. And I would say that's basically the best part of the movie, the posters and the cast that they assembled. Another thing I thought was kind of interesting was the way the zombies looked. The whole black smoke when you decapitated them, I thought that was different. That was a different angle to take the zombies. But I don't understand how fracking causes zombies to reanimate. And I also don't understand how come all the zombies in this town are fresh zombies. Like, all these people at the cemetery could not have died at the same time period, that they're all still really fresh and intact. There were no bone zombies, no really decomposed zombies. So was this like a mystical, kind of like magical resurrection? Was it a science fiction resurrection? Was the fracking science? I don't know. It didn't really explain how did it all relate to the zombies reanimating, and how come all the zombies look so fresh, right? They all look like fresh kills. No decomposing, no broken bones, staggering. I also thought it was interesting that the zombies went back to doing what they were doing originally. I've kind of seen that before in other zombie movies, but for the most part, it was a movie that had zombies. I would not call this a zombie movie at all. I don't know what I would call this. This is a mishmash of a whole bunch of different things. It's really a weird indie movie with some big pacing issues that wants to be kind of like a Simpsons episode, because they even throw random alien spacecrafts from the 50s like a Simpsons. I would say this, they try to, if this was a Simpsons episode, it would be executed so much better. But they had a lot of elements that you would see randomly in a Simpsons episode that kind of work in a Simpsons episode, but it didn't work at all here. I have a podcast. It's called Last Weekly. Check us out at lastweekly.com, so where you can hear the podcast. That's a plug. And we have a rating system. And if I were to apply that rating system to this movie, we say movie theater if you would actually go see the movie and pay for it. We say Netflix if it's a streaming service and you would catch it on streaming. And we say kill if it's something you wouldn't even watch, right? And I don't like doing kill because movies take so much time and effort and creative energy, so many people coming together for a creative effort, and I don't like to bring that down, but this movie's a kill. I'm sorry. I would say watch this movie when you're bored, but the whole reason to watch a movie when you're bored is so you're not bored. So why would you watch this movie? I would not watch this movie. So I would not recommend you watch this. If you did see this movie, put it in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Are you going to watch this movie after watching this review? Also put it in the comments. Hit me with a like, hit me with a comment. As always, guys, this is the Tone Show. Tone Show. Ah. Ooh.